Well, good morning. I'll officially call to order the regular meeting of Coachella Valley Water District Board of Directors, August 12th, 2025, here in Palm Desert. And would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call, please.
Roll the mic. Okay, here we go. Good morning, President Powell.
Here.
Vice President Estrada.
Here.
Director Bianco.
Here.
Director Aguilar.
Here.
And Director Nelson.
Here.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody this morning.
Yeah, right.
Back with 5. Yay. Are there any additions, deletions, or adjustments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody wishing to comment publicly at this time? I don't see anybody. I'm surprised there's nothing out there. Let's go fast. Okay. Hearing none, onto the consent calendar. I have a real property interest in the adjacents to 5B, so I guess what we need to do is pull that from the
Right, so
consent
we'd
calendar.
recommend that we pull item 5B unless there's a discussion about it, then the board can take action on 5A and C and then separately vote on B, for which you will recuse yourself.
Okay, so and so if there's a discussion on B, I'll leave the room.
Yes.
So is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent calendar, A and C?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And you want to handle, that passed 5-0. You want to handle 5B?
Sure. We'll take on 5B. If there's no questions, comments, is there a motion to approve 5?
I'll move
5B.
approval of item 5B.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
That's the one. Yeah, I abstained. That was the one you were worried about. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. On to the action calendar, 7A. This is our request for waiver by Fountainhead. And it looks like Carrie will be presenting. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. Okay, so this board action item is related to the Fountainhead development. They're requesting a waiver for the Dutch Brothers Coffee facility to get sewer service before they complete the required sewer improvements in Varner Road. So there's a lot of detail in the BAI. I wasn't going to go over every point in there, but I was going to just summarize. And I'm happy to answer any questions. So there are multiple developers that have these similar requirements in Varner Road before they can get service to their developments. With respect to Dutch Brothers, staff has reviewed the water usage from another facility that's located in La Quinta, and we found that the actual water consumption is substantially higher than what's being represented by the developer. And in this situation, staff believes there's an alternate path here rather than granting the requested waiver, and that's to continue to encourage these multiple developers to work together and share in the costs of the design and construction of the Varner Road sewer improvements. We've met with the developers a few times. We've presented this path forward for them, and we've also just recently, last week, executed letters of commitment from all 4 developers. And that basically is saying they're interested in moving forward. And from that point, we'll then prepare the special agreements so that there's assurances on both sides on what's going to happen. So based on this information, staff is not recommending that the board grant the requested waiver for the Dutch Brothers Coffee facility. To continue to protect the integrity of the sewer pipeline infrastructure from any risk of sewer overflows, to align with existing board policy and CBW's development design manual requirements, and then lastly, to ensure that development is responsible for its impact on existing infrastructure in accordance with CBW's longstanding development principles. So I do recommend that the board support the alternate path, but in the event that the board wishes to grant this waiver, we just require, or we request the board require a couple of items, and that would be a signed acknowledgement that this waiver is due to unique circumstances and shall not be deemed to set a precedence in connection with any further requirements to be imposed on this developer or the development as a whole, which is Monterey Crossings, or any other development in this same Varner Road sewer improvement requirement. And then also that the waiver be contingent upon the developer furnishing a security deposit to guarantee the installation of the sewer pipeline needed for the entire Varner Road sewer system in an amount equal to 5% of the estimated construction costs. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Carrie, for the second part of your presentation, has the developer agreed to do that, including the bond?
No, we haven't had any discussions with them on that.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Right.
otherwise, we're gonna
Yes.
we would kind of put the cart before the horse, and then
Right.
you have no recourse
Right,
unless you have a bond.
right.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, wasn't there comments that they needed this Dutch Bros to make the other part work?
The other part of the project?
Well, and the pipeline.
I don't think
I don't
so.
recall that.
I think
It's
they
a-
just want to get it done quicker because it's probably generates revenue for them.
That's
anyway.
what I meant.
Well,
I
That's
think
what- that's
I
what
think they have
meant.
commitments on the.
Yeah,
They have commitments on getting that building released to.
they have a lease or something lined up.
So what can you look into your crystal ball? You don't want to speculate. I mean, if everything goes standard, option one versus option two, what's the difference in timing for a Dutch Brothers to open?
Well, they need to go through the design process. So let's say that's 4 to 6 months, and then they would need to do the construction. So that's probably 12 months. So it's probably the difference between 18 months.
Between 12 and 18?
Just well,
Between now and.
between now
So
and
it would
18.
delay it for 18 months. Yeah, I get it.
Carrie, I have a question. The consortium that was put together that you've successfully met with, 4 of those developers have agreed to the conditions for the installation of the sewer line. So can you just tell me what was the breakdown around this particular developer not wanting to participate?
This developer is participating for their overall development. They're called Monterey Crossings, and they're located there on Dinah Shore and Gerald Ford, over there by the Costco, across from the Costco Center in Palm Desert.
So these guys are one of the 4?
They're one of the 4. They just happen to have, I guess, an arrangement with Dutch Brothers to have a coffee facility within their development. They have other things over there as well. That's where the Chick-fil-A is. They're building a hotel.
Right.
Yeah.
So is the Dutch Brothers developer, are they part of the 4 that have agreed to
Yes.
this
Yeah.
consortium to design together and put a little group together to make all that happen?
Yes.
So they're part of that.
They're part of that. Yeah.
So you may recall during the last meeting, we had representatives from Fountainhead, which is the developer that's basically got the land, and the individual from Dutch Brothers. Can't remember what his position with the company was, but he was one of the people that was pretty adamant that this had to move forward. And I don't want to at all diminish Carrie's concerns. I support the recommendation in holding to the design manual and getting the coalition to sign that they will together approach this rather than granting waivers or exceptions. I mean, the design manual was approved by the board, so staff is trying to be consistent with the policy that the board has been in place. So, you're gonna have folks that run at you pretty much every time they have something they wanna do that is not consistent with the manual or the policy that the board has set. So this is just one of those examples where staff is trying to hold fast to the policy, but it is your call.
So Jim, can you comment, or somebody who knows comment on what kind of assurance we really get from the bond? I mean, if let's say that these other partners don't go
Or
forward,
keep the money.
how do we execute our rights under the bond?
Well, we would request something that was more of a cash security because bonds are very hard to draw on. And so that's our standard practice, is to get some sort of a
CD
a
or something?
CD or some sort of guaranteed cash deposit so that we would have access
And
to
this
it
is a several
easily.
$million deposit.
Yeah,
It was 5%, right?
it's 5%, so it's I think the whole project was estimated around 5 or 6 million. So it's not going to be,
$250,000.
yeah,
So that would be a little bit.
but it
Would be
would,
half of
So
it.
instead of having a bond, you have a contract to pay, basically,
right.
or to contract to reimburse, probably.
So would that 5% cover their participation in the 4 developer consortium?
It would cover it would just be something to commit them to finishing the project because we would be holding this cash deposit until the project was completed.
Okay, so what I was thinking that if we granted the exception, we get a 5% CD, which replaces the bond. It's $250,000 roughly, is what we're penciling out here at the board level, not on paper, but just penciling out. And if it were a $5 million project and their share is, 1.25 million, then the $250,000's not going to cover their share. So the other developers in their consortium
Right.
would be short money to complete.
Well, that's what
the
I'm
project.
wondering. I mean, it doesn't seem like enough.
So I'll just
Right.
I'll
No,
check-
it's not meant to cover the construction. It's just meant to
So they don't walk.
so they don't walk away, so that they have some commitment in the process. And a lot of times when you have, a cash deposit, you want it back, right?
So I'll just share that in our conversations with them, and Director Bianco and I met with them. One of the issues that they brought up, or the comment that they were constantly making, is that they weren't trying to get away from their what they call their impact, and so it sounds like staff provided what would be their cost through the impact fees that are generated. And so their problem was, well, which was the credit, right? It's basically if the project was at 5 million, whatever you said it was, then you would give them credit for whatever their project generated, which maybe was like about 500,000 or $1 million, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, they get credit against the fees that they would pay.
Sure.
Right.
So
And so the way that they've penciled it out is all 4 of the developers right now with their credits equal the construction of the project.
correct. So that was
So
their
it does work for them.
So their problem was that it's kind of like whoever goes first ends up putting up the cost for the entire project, which is more than what their credit generates. So that's what the purpose of this group. So they've kind of indicated to us that, hey, we have no. So I guess my question is the 5% equal whatever their
No,
They're
it doesn't.
re- 'cause-
It's just something to hold them
'Cause if they're-
accountable to
yeah.
this process.
So if their fee's
and
more-
keep them wanting to continue to move forward with the design and then ultimately the construction, because you would be granting something that is unusual. Like,
Why not just-
we don't do this.
Why not
and
just charge the fee?
we can if
Yeah, I
if
think
you if you
that's
want me
better.
to charge more, I'm happy to charge more.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they're
they're
credit-
going to pay it anyways.
Does the
But
5%
the other-
cover the Dutch brothers?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't cover that.
I mean, if they're going to pay the fee anyways, or equivalent to the fee, why not just charge that
For their whole development.
for
For all
the Dutch Brothers part of the development?
Oh, because that would be 5 EDUs times
for all of it, they're
times 20 $500.
Yeah, no.
Like that would be their connection fee.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
That's not enough.
They're willing to they're willing to put in the amount for the entire development, which includes the hotels.
Yeah, I get that. All right. So,
But the concern also is that, you know, there's 4 developers, and so if we grant this waiver for the one, then the other 3, you know, are going to be in line next.
well, I know.
So it sets a little bit of a you know, a precedence that
What would be their total cost of the 5 million?
I don't have that letter in front of me. They were all roughly equal.
What if we made them put
So
up a bond for the
1.2
total amount?
maybe 1.2, 1.3 million.
What if we made them put up a bond for that?
Or cash. Yeah.
Well, I'm in support of not even messing with the bond and the security deposit, and just saying, keep working with us, and we will, you know, get your design in, and just get the sewer facilities in place,
Yeah.
so that we're not, you know, piecemealing this and setting a precedence and having other developers coming in wanting the same treatment.
Well,
It really comes down to I think throughout this whole conversation, it's really been a matter of timing, and so it's really, I think the question is, do we want to make them wait 18 months? 'Cause that's what it amounts to. So the waiver allows them to move now. Not granting the waiver makes them go through the process that we have in place. But that means 18 months, maybe more.
yeah,
That's really it.
yeah, I would suggest if we're going to do something along the second alternative, the non-recommended alternative, that we increase that amount, and it should be some proximity to what they would pay anyways.
Okay.
Because they're going to pay it anyways. Why? I don't think they would complain.
I would agree to that.
So if they post a bond, they won't have to put the whole money up, but.
Well, I
it'll
don't know
be-
that we want to do a bond. I think that the bond has another set of problems that may not serve our interests. And if they're going to be out the cash anyways, why not just have them post a cash
Okay.
security that covers their what they would have had to invest anyways?
I think that's fair.
I can't get to the letter with the dollars, but I got to the letter you sent them that has the EDU count. And for the 4 of them, Katana JV, which is a residential, is 221 EDUs. Monterey Crossing, which is what Dutch Brothers is part of, is 160 EDUs. GHA Investments is 135 EDUs, and then Ramona and Rattler Partners is about 140 EDUs. So
So it would be the 160
track?
times about 2,500, 2,700
right.
would be their,
So that would be for the whole Monterey Crossings, the development. That would be for the hotel, for all that. Yeah, I think that's fair.
So 160 times 2,500 is.
I mean, you guys
400,000.
figured the
Yeah, I
exact
thought it was
amount
about $500,000.
What do we?
I think that's.
I mean, if you're inclined to go that way, I'm not sure I am, but that's one vote.
So let me ask, this is, okay, we understand their impact for the project, as part of the 650 basically EDUs in that neighborhood. They're about 160 of that. So there's 2 questions I would have is, what if the other developers of this 4-member consortium back out, and then are they going to sign now and commit themselves with their equal shares of money for the design and construction? And then So that's one question. And the second question is, in the staff report, there was a whole narrative about the prior developments on the existing sewer connection that are way above their EDUs. And is there any adjustments made for that as far as their participation in projects and so forth, in future projects to carry that additional capacity?
So for the first question, the letters of commitment do acknowledge that all 4 developers are going to work and they have their own joint use agreement to handle the financing of the project, and that CBWD is not part of the financing.
Okay.
But when the special agreements are drafted, they will address that there's 4 developers and you're all responsible, however you've decided, for the financing of the project. But if one of you falls out, then the financing falls to the remaining developers.
Okay.
I mean, so we'll have that agreement, whether they still move forward or not. You know, if one of them falls out, then that remains to be seen. But they will have that requirement associated with their development, and they won't be able to get service.
Yeah.
So with the other question, when are you talking about the development that's already in service that was using 3 times as much?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's hard once they're already in service and they already have their meters. We did talk to them and let them know that based on the number of EDUs you paid, that sets your water budget. So if you're using more water than your water budget, you're going to be in the higher tiers. So you're going to pay more on the water side. And they have chosen, but we said if you want to pay the additional EDUs to equal what your usage is, you can do that, and then that'll bring your budget up and your water bill down. And they have chosen to pay the higher water bill.
Okay.
To use less water is what they're thinking.
That's-
So they think they're going to use less water. Yeah.
Yeah. So they think they can conserve out of that, I guess, or be satisfied with the.
But that's again why we're cautious, because when we do our hydraulic modeling, they submit their demands and they submit their estimates. And in this particular situation for this facility, we didn't have a lot of other examples. Same with Dutch Brothers. That's why we're being cautious, because this facility was at the same location as Monterey Crossings, and they're using 3 times as much, right? They're instead of 30 EDUs, they're using 90. That's significant.
That is. Yeah.
And so that's why we're being cautious here. We're looking at a similar, actually not even similar, the same facility, the same coffee shop. They're saying they're going to use a half a EDU. We're estimating 5.
It's also good to remember that under this same development, there was a car wash.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
That's the 30 EDU.
Yeah. So they estimated X number of EDUs, and they're using 3 times as much of that.
Yeah.
So it's not just a comparison of Dutch Brothers to Dutch Brothers, but it seems like the developer has trouble estimating what the true EDU count is.
That, or there's significant business at the location that is driving that number up too.
It's possible. 3 times the volume.
seems-
That's
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a good business.
Why don't we? Are we ready to
No.
do something? All right. Go ahead, John.
So granting the waiver is not something that I'm typically comfortable doing for all the obvious reasons. But in the staff report, it talks about the same concern about setting a precedent, but that if an agreement is signed, that would somehow diffuse the precedent being applied to other developers in the future. I'm curious, and maybe this is a question for Jeff, how enforceable is that signed acknowledgement that it will not set a precedent for either this development group or for another developer?
Well, that would be used when the next developer comes forward and wants the same waiver. We would have documentation that we only provided in this case on these circumstances. So there's no way to use that contract and then tell future developers that we're not going to give waivers. It's more of a matter of documenting our work as to why we decided in this particular case it was so unique that the board decided to move forward. But to your point, there is no process to bring a waiver to the board of directors under the design manual at all. So if we're going to do that, we're trying to just document as best we can why this case is not going to be global for all future waiver requests. But there's no guarantee that the next developer won't make the same argument.
Okay.
All it does is set up the board for another hearing or another request, because essentially this waiver goes against policy. And even if we say it's not precedent setting, the next guy could basically come in and ask the board for another waiver. I mean, you're opening the door.
Well, they always have that ability to, but the design manual is what, the policy is the design manual.
Right,
And that's not going to
because,
change.
yeah, not to get into too many of the technical details, but I did, describe what the issue is here. We have a certain criteria, the D over D, depth to diameter, and they're exceeding that. So then that eats into any cushion that we have with respect to the sewer system, the manholes, and if there's a storm event or something like that, and there's extra water or something getting into the system, and we're above capacity, it puts us at risk.
The ironic thing is, if the car wash had stayed to what the estimated EDU was, this wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
So I'll just, because of the conversation about not said presidents, LAFCO has some, this is just as an example, so LAFCO has somewhat of a policy, it's kind of vague, but they have this policy against creating islands when districts or cities ask for annexation of areas. The policy allows the LAFCO board to make an exception of creating islands, but in their determination, they have to have a finding, and sometimes the finding is related to whether or not moving in that type of annexation where it would create an island, that it would harm a project, that it would not allow for development. That certain things would kind of qualify for kind of not going with that general policy of not creating islands. So maybe that's I don't know if we have to state some type of finding in the agreement that makes it unique, but I just wanted to share that as an example. I'm open to granting the waiver with the comments that we've made about having them put up the cash that would be equal to what they would be responsible for payment and impact fees. And that sounds like it's somewhere close to $500,000. And so I'll make a motion that we do that with that condition.
Is that clear enough as far as the amount? Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion before we vote?
Before we vote, can I just get clarification on the conditions of the motion?
Oh, you want me?
I just want to understand what we're approving.
Okay, so what I understand we're approving is the waiver for Dutch Brothers with these two conditions: that they're going to sign this acknowledgement, that this is a unique circumstance, and we're going to use that as not setting precedents, and then we're going to require them to put up a cash guarantee in the amount equal to their sanitation capacity charges, the collection component, so approximately $500,000.
Thank you.
which is
A full amount.
more than the 5% that,
Right,
that
which
we
is
were
more than the
originally
five
asking for.
percent. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little uncomfortable in approving a project that's going to put such a demand on the system in an area that's seen, you know, floods and you know, weather events that have that have impacted the system, as well as the fact that we're running kind of above the threshold or at the threshold in terms of existing newly developed you know, business there and demand on the system. So I'm feeling very uncomfortable about that demand on the system.
Sure, and also I just want to clarify that it's 5 EDUs that are being requested. I think the entire project that's defined through the consortium, you heard it was like over 600. So the waiver, and this is just in case there was some misunderstanding, the waiver, and I'm looking for clarification too now. The waiver is only to activate the Dutch Brothers, which is 5 EDUs, and it's not for the full development of the Monterey Crossing, which is closer to 140
160.
EDUs, 160 EDUs.
The waiver is specifically for the Dutch Brothers, which is 5 EDUs. But to Director Nelson's point, the car wash that sits within that development currently is using 60 more EDUs than they were allotted.
And in our meetings, weren't we told that
Quit quack.
we design our pipes to be at a maximum of 75 to 80%? Is that correct?
No, Carrie knows
I don't know.
the percentage of the pipe. I think it's exceeding 0.6 or something.
Well,
0.7.
we have a requirement, the depth to diameter requirement, and for this size of pipe, it's a ratio of 0.67. Wait, is that right? Yeah. 0.67. And with the modeling that we've done using Monterey Crossings development, the ratio is ranging between 0.68 to 0.7. So it's over the it's over our criteria.
Is 0.68, is that a percentage?
It's a ratio. Basically, it's saying 2/3 full.
2/3 full.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's
yeah, right.
that's what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
it's not that we're at 100 right now and we're trying to exceed the 100.
Right.
We're at
0.67,
we're at 6.7,
and we're going to be at like
and
0.675 or something.
and that's why we're.
But
I mean,
that's
that's why we're attempting to grant the waiver, because it's such a, whether it's 5 or they're wrong and it goes to 10, it's still a small amount that, you know, we're trying to get this thing.
But
rolling.
it's already over by the 60 from the previous development, and who knows how many others that, you know, didn't exactly come in as designed. And that extra third is our cushion for surcharges or, you know, other events. This is the Varner Road sewer. The Acrisure Arena is connected to it. You know, there's fluctuations in the flow in that sewer line depending on what is going on any given weekend.
Yeah.
And that's our cushion.
I just want to point out, Carrie, you started your presentation with describing some of the work you did to pull together this group, and I think some of those have already been signed. Is that right?
All 4 have been signed.
Okay. I
Yes.
just want to say that, you know, it's CVWD has made, I think, a significant effort to help with what is maybe a more practical path forward, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. You spent a lot of time on this, more than you should have.
Are we ready to vote? I'd like to do a roll call vote just so we don't have confusion about who voted how. I think so. Yeah. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Okay. President Powell,
No.
Vice President Estrada,
Yes.
Director Bianco,
Yes.
Director Aguilar,
No.
Director Nelson.
No.
Motion fails.
Carrie, I have a question. The yellow is the sewer.
The yellow is, yeah, all of our sewer pipelines.
Is all of our sewer pipelines.
Right.
Now, I see in Bermuda Dunes that in the corner here, I don't see any yellow. Do we not have sewer there?
We don't have sewer.
Who has sewer for those businesses?
They're on, septic, I believe,
Even
right?
even some of those big businesses that are there along,
Yeah.
they're on septic.
Yeah, we've had multiple discussions, I know, with the,
Good discussion.
with the HOA in Bermuda Dunes Country Club over the years. Every time they go to repave their streets, they're like, maybe we should install sewer.
No, I knew that about the homes that were there,
Okay.
but I didn't realize that some of the businesses that were there were also on septic too. Okay, interesting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I ruined it. I ruined it. No. It's, crap.
All right.
Hang on. Couldn't see the map.
Hold on, Sabrina.
Actually, I don't think we have a problem. Okay. I don't have a problem. You can take
Okay.
it if you
No,
want.
no, go ahead. Just for the last item, we didn't have to provide any other type of direction. It was only to deny the waiver, correct?
That's right,
We're down.
Okay.
because the alternative path is being pursued.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So on to item B. What are we? 7B. Sabrina. Hi. Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Sabrina Neese, Engineering Manager for Domestic Water. The item before you today is to approve the solicitation of bids for construction of the Valley View Water Consolidation Project. The total cost of this project is estimated at $16 million. We have two grants. One is the State Water Resources Control Board in the amount of $10,696,360, and the second is an EPA grant in the amount of $6,152,972. We currently are working with the state to execute an amendment to extend the completion date of the project. When the original agreement was executed, the dates didn't quite line up with our construction schedule. The EPA grant came in much later after the state grant, so we're fine on the dates with regard to our EPA grant, but again, working with the state to extend the funding agreement dates. Once we do get that amendment executed, then we'll put the project out to bid. We have received confirmation from the state that that is in progress, so we're expecting that to happen in the fall. But we want to make sure that we get ahead of this. We do have 100% complete construction drawings as well as all easements executed. So on CVWD side of things, we're ready to go minus the financing.
Great.
I just want to say another great project. A lot of infrastructure. It's good to see that line there that's floating in space right now is going to be activated and get us over the expressway and the storm channel. So, just good work, and happy to see that it just seems that we're always killing two birds with one stone as we approach these projects. We're able to connect existing communities, but also expand our system, which I think is great. So those are my general comments. Good job. Thank you.
So the blue is the existing, and the red is what we're putting in.
Correct. Yeah, there's a little bit of an overlap of the red, so at least on this screen, the properties are also outlined in red, but effectively the main lines, the new proposed main lines are the ones in red, and that is correct.
Darker red, yeah.
Yeah, there is a section in blue that's already been built.
Okay. Would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay.
I'd just like to say, Costello, thank you for your involvement in the grant solicitation, getting the grants and so forth. I think your involvement in the East Valley here has done a tremendous amount of positive foundation for these, and appreciate you and the energies that you've expended on this and working together. I know, Anthony and John have equal, maybe not equally, but participated as well. And but I just would call you out especially and thank you for getting the fair amount of the money on these projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Good job.
Good. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 5-0. Thanks, Sabrina. All right, on to 7C, which is the reimbursement.
Armando, good morning.
Good morning,
Armando.
President Powell, members of the board, audience. Just for the record, my name is Armando Rodriguez, engineering manager with the engineering department. So this morning, we're requesting the board to reimburse Cotino development in the amount of $1,099,486 for the completed and installed sewer pipelines in and around Cotino. These improvements were required by the Special Domestic Water and Sanitation Installation Agreement that was signed back in 2021. As you know, the development is a multi-phased project. It does include resorts, hotels, mixed-use centers at like 165,000 and commercial and about 2,000 residential units, and a lot of recreational amenities within it. As part of the Special Installation Agreement, we were required the development to install improvements, sewer improvements. One was the Vista del Sol, and CVW would be contributing to the upsize. In addition, we had some deepening of the sewer system on the main trunk line through the Cotino development. And that deepening also allowed the abandonment of lift station 8020 and 8016. And then the third leg of the sewer requirements was to install sewer facilities from Cotino's trunk line to these two lift stations, 8020 and 8016. These three major legs of the sewer system do improve efficiency, reduce long-term maintenance costs, specifically when we're abandoning lift station 8016 and 8020. As just for food for thought, rehabbing a lift station is a very expensive proposition. More or less about every 20, 25 years, we have to reinvest in the aging infrastructure. And right now we're currently somewhere in the neighborhood of about $8 million. So this is a very good investment on getting rid of lift stations forever, in essence. So the staff initially estimated these three sewer segments or pieces, the expansion to 8016, the deepening those main truck line through Cotino, and the Vista del Sol upsizing. And back in 2021, we had an estimate of $885,000. Actual costs, bidder costs, and this were they were bid to local contractors. Actual cost now came in at $1,757,046 to round up. But based on the previous approval of $885,000, CVWD has already reimbursed Cotino $658,000, about approximately $658,000, and that is for the upsizing of Vista del Sol and also the deepening of the sewer on Cotino. What is remaining is the sewer extensions from Cotino to lift station 8016 and 8020, and these two sewer pipelines came in at about $1.1 million. The funding source for this would be sanitation capacity charge or collection, and we are requesting a budget amendment just because we did have this project on our budget last fiscal year, but we didn't have it for this fiscal year, and so we're asking a zero increase in our overall budget. We're going to take money from another project to fund this project. It would be a zero cost budget amendment. So staff does recommend that we continue with the reimbursement. It's good investment, specifically when we are looking at resiliency, capacity, regional growth, and I, for one, I don't like lift stations, so it's kind of good that we get
Yeah.
rid of two of them.
Got the hint there.
Yeah.
From Aldo.
So with that, I'll pause to see if there's any, or conclude my presentation to see if there's any questions.
No. None from me.
Me neither. I would move the item 7C.
I'll second.
Very well. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Armando. On to 7D. These are these real property acquisitions for that sewer project.
So this is the sister brother. I don't know which one to say, but this is the related project to the Valley View Domestic Water Consolidation. This is now the sewer component, and so the purpose is to request authorization for the general manager to execute the following agreements: 2 easement acquisition agreements for the Durans. That's APN 757. 100-008 and 77-110-20. And we also are bringing here 20 consolidation agreements. This would allow us, 1, the abandonment of the existing septic tanks, 2, allow us to provide sewer, and 3, their commitment that they will connect to our sewer system. The expenses associated with these 2 easements is an easement for $18,000, so about a half acre, and then about $550 for, in essence, a very small portion, 0.01 acres for the second easement. And we have some escrow cost and also some contingency for a total request about $23,000. These easements and coalition agreements are needed so that we can finalize our design and start our construction of the sewer infrastructure that will connect about 14 mobile home parks within the Valley View sewer system. I'll pause here to see if there's any questions associated with this project. I know we have brought this project in the past, but let me just pause to see if there's any questions that I might answer. This project, as of now, is fully funded through grants. So we welcome this infrastructure, specifically when it's all grant, majority grant funding.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
In spite of the fact that it's a 1 for 2, here you're putting a lift station in, I'll go for it.
Right. All right. We have a motion and a second. Who was the second? Okay. Straw. And any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Passed
Thank you.
5-0. Thanks.
Thank you.
Alana. Next is E. Yep. Manholes. Hi.
Manholes, good morning again. So our request is to approve and adopt the budget amendment resolution number 25-26-001 to the fiscal year 2025-26 Engineering Department's operating budget for water valve operator wells and sewer manhole adjustments in the amount of $420,000. For a little bit of background for this current fiscal year, which just started July 1st, we had $580,000 included in the budget. To date, we've executed $507,650 in task orders. We have 6 additional projects that we've been made aware of that are coming forward. which is what's warranting the additional $420,000 cost increase to the budget. The projects, as you may have noticed, driving around our service area, are located within County Riverside, Indian Wells, and Palm Desert. And these are just the projects that we've been made aware of to date, but it's a very popular summer to do street improvements, as we're finding out. But I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you may have. The funds are coming out of PAYGO.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this?
Yeah,
item
I'll move
7E?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Second by Aguilar.
Hmm?
I don't know
Yeah.
if you need to know who gave that second.
I got it.
Yeah, you put Aguilar.
I said Aguilar.
Yeah.
Come on up, David. L4.
Good morning.
L4. Good morning.
Purpose of this item is to authorize the general manager to, for a check request. Forgive me, my sheets are out of order here. And a check request in the amount of $852,521 to the Imperial Irrigation District, and change order number 12 to Suka Construction in the amount of $869,500 for a total request that includes engineering, additional inspection, and contingency of $1,972,021. The project is included in this year's capital improvement budget in the amount of $500,000. Therefore, this request also includes a request to adopt budget amendment resolution number 25-26-002 to cover the balance. This project was in last year's capital improvement budget. We were waiting for ID. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the scope and fee related to what they needed to do to get this power to the site last year, as they were dealing with staffing issues on their end and also some power constraints that they were trying to resolve with a local development in the city of La Quinta, which they finally did resolve, which does benefit us in that they have given us a cost that prorates our consumption for this project relative to the development, and gives us a significant discount on the cost related to bringing power to the site. And I'll leave it there and take any questions.
Just for clarification, I think we talked about this project not too long ago. I don't know if it was during the CIP, but I think there was a question about whether this was something that was driven by the development, the relocation of the, and then I think you said kinda, but it's also beneficial to us. And
Well, the relocation itself was beneficial to us to move it closer to Jefferson Street, mainly because of all the development that was going to be occurring, and it was constant engagement for our operations staff to go in and having to coordinate in some cases with the community. It just seemed an easier location, and then for the delivery, the hydraulics at that location seemed to work better.
what project is that inside of right now?
That's the Silver Rock. To the left
Silver
is
Rock.
the Silver Rock
They don't call it Silver Rock anymore.
golf course.
Yeah, and
Formally called.
What is the new name for that? It's not even Silver Rock.
No, I don't know.
Huh?
What is
Talus.
Talus. Yeah, Talus.
so at no point was this ever a condition on the project to
no?
move this out, and why wouldn't that be?
Well, there was no benefit to the project. The project wasn't using the water.
Okay. All right. I just a general question.
The original purpose of the project was to provide additional means for providing an alternative source of supply to the golf courses out there. We added 3 other golf courses in the community. This particular pump station is over 50 years old or 70 years old. It was built in the 50s. So we're replacing the existing 4 pumps with 6. It will allow us to cycle through each of the pumps and allow for this delivery in this location to go on for another, ideally, 50, 70 years.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Passed 5-0.
Thanks, David.
Okay. Vehicles.
Stu.
Stuart Taylor. We don't see you very often. When we do, you always come with a lot.
100 vehicles.
There's a lot.
Good morning, President Powell, Vice President Estrada, and distinguished members of the board. We're here this morning asking you to authorize the execution of purchase orders to acquire 31 vehicles and equipment in the amount of $2,849,009 and approve a contingency of $5,991 for a total requested authorization of $2,855,000. Additionally, the request is to authorize the disposal of up to 40 vehicles and equipment. Just make a quick side note. We're comfortable with that low contingency dollar amount because we specified that the vehicles come upfitted with all the appurtenances that we require, such as a utility bed. If it requires a lift gate, if it requires, we're putting light bars, shark fin antennas, everything that we would need to put these vehicles in service, with the exception of some small finishing touches such as decals when they arrive at our yard. So we're comfortable with that amount. It's recommended also that the board of directors deem the bid from Selman Chevrolet Company non-responsive based on significant deviations from the invitation for bid number 2025-31. The funds are available for the purchase of the 31 vehicles and equipment in the fiscal year 2026 motor pool capital improvement and operating budget in the amounts of $2,845,000 and $10,000 respectively. Therefore, there will be no adverse impact to the budget. At this point, we do have a small PowerPoint presentation we would like to go over to outline the path of how we got here for these 28 half-ton pickups with utility beds.
Yeah, go ahead. So just a question on the bids. If I'm remembering this right, we only had one responsive bidder. Is that correct?
No, we had three responsive
Three
bidders,
responsive and one non-responsive.
maybe four. The lowest one was the non-responsive that we
Right.
requested, Dean.
All right, okay.
And it was significantly lower.
Yeah, so they
Yeah,
screwed up.
I could see how it was.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that answered my
It was
question.
missing some critical components. So,
Yeah, thank you.
so with that said,
That's right. Oh, that's yeah. I missed.
first, we'll note the FY26 motor pool capital improvement spreadsheet. You'll note that there are 28 vehicles that are half-ton with utility beds on the top part of the spreadsheet. We put those out for official bid on CVWD IFB number 2025-31. CVWD selected Winter Chevrolet as the lowest responsive bidder to provide the half-ton work trucks. We also have, you'll note at the bottom, a Trail King heavy equipment trailer. We're going to utilize a Sourcewell contract and Trail King Industries for that piece of equipment. We have a Vector truck refurbishment for the collections maintenance group. That will be a refurbishment performed by Haker Equipment Company utilizing a single source purchase agreement. And then finally, we have the Barco forestry mulcher, which we will also utilize a single source purchase agreement from Lynn Hendricks Equipment Company. So how we got here is an important part of the discussion. So first of all, there are significant headwinds relating to the compliance with the California Air Resources Board Advanced Clean Fleet Rule. This rule applies to any vehicle that is 8,500 gross vehicle weight rating or above. Back in the previous sheet, you'll notice that all of the vehicles that we identified for replacement are the older high mile F350, F450, and F550 trucks. Those are in direct requirement by the Advanced Clean Fleet Rule to have a portion of them be zero emission. So as we were preparing for the FY26 capital improvement plan, we outlined two plans, an option A and an option B. And part of that discussion led us down the path as we were standing next to these brand new Silverados that we had just gotten in. Hey, I wonder if we could put a utility bed on that. It's 6,800 GVWR. And if we put an aluminum utility bed on it, maybe that would serve a functional purpose at the district and allow the district to move forward and still meet the requirements of the branches that use these trucks. The answer was there was a solution. We did this pickup. This was the pilot test vehicle that we put in service back in March. I believe it's the domestic backflow group that utilized the truck. We did some demonstrations in Coachella and Palm Desert. We worked with the frontline staff as well as leadership in discussing this solution, and we came up to the conclusion that we could put 28 of these vehicles in service, meet the demands of the departments and divisions that were going to utilize these trucks, as well as have zero risk for either the California Air Resources Board or South Coast for their regulations, which is a big deal. Secondarily, these trucks are significantly less money than it would be to replace an F-550 vehicle. On our option A, when we were looking to replace some of those F-550s with battery electric, there's very, very few options, but they're about $300,000, $200,000 just for the chassis. Wow. The F-550 alone is about $150,000. That's as a baseline, and then it goes up from there if you add different appurtenances such as a crane or a lift gate. So this was a great solution. We worked closely with the branches that would utilize the trucks. We thought outside the box, and the collaboration proved to be very successful, and we received a really good deal of positive feedback on this solution. So we think it was a very successful collaboration this year, and we're really happy to be able to have the solution and save a significant amount of money. So with that said, I'll move quickly through the rest of the slides. The other piece of equipment that we have on our replacement list is this Trail King heavy equipment lowboy trailer. This one we placed in service last fiscal year, and it replaced the oldest trailer that we had in the fleet. This upcoming fiscal year will replace the 2005 model year Cozad heavy equipment trailer. These typically haul all of the heavy equipment ranging from 60,000 pounds to 100,000 pounds if it's a D8 dozer or a long stick excavator. So safety is of a critical consideration and importance in this case. The other benefit is these new trailers are hydraulically operated, which makes them much more efficient as well as safe for the operators.
As opposed to mechanically operated?
Correct. The old trailers were all mechanical to disconnect and front load and all that. These are hydraulic. One operator can do it efficiently and safely, and that's a really huge step forward for the stormwater group that typically uses those trailers. So the next piece of equipment on the list is the Barco forestry mulcher. This piece of equipment is used to clear large vegetation from the stormwater channel. Just due to the nature of its operation and function, it's under heavy loads and a good deal of stress to the components based on the operating environment and how it functions. Just as an example, that front bar, that drum with all the teeth on it that you see weighs about 9,000 pounds, spins at 2,000 RPM, and it traverses down the stormwater channel, mulching the vegetation, and it just creates a lot of stress on that piece of equipment. This model year is a 2014. We feel it's at the end of life. If we push this any farther, it's going to potentially create some catastrophic failures and the exponential increase in maintenance and repair costs that aren't worth the risk. The final benefit is that we worked with Lynn Hendricks, and they are going to give us $90,000 for our old piece of equipment towards the purchase of the new unit. And the final piece of equipment is the Vactor truck refurbishment. So we have 2 of these trucks in the fleet right now. They're utilized by the collections and maintenance folks. They use these to perform annual clean line maintenance on about 200 miles of gravity sewer lines, and they have to do this on an annual basis. And so it's a very critical piece of equipment. Those 2 trucks need to be available at all times. They also do some emergency response. The 2 Kenworth chassis are T440s, they're 2014 model years, but they have approved South Coast TICRs already. So refurbishing the Vactor component of this truck makes the most sense. we don't have the compliance concern of trying to bring in a different chassis, which would either require a waiver, an exemption from South Coast, or a zero emission solution. So we utilize Haker Equipment Company. They did the one in FY24, and the collections group was very happy with the result of that refurbishment. They take all the wear items and components, expendable items, and replace those. They will upgrade the control systems, as well as they reline the interior, the tanks and so forth, and bring it up to new specifications. And that is at a fraction of the cost of a replacement truck, which is close to $1 million. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Stuart.
Good job.
I had to look up Winter Chevrolet. It's really far from here. It's
Yeah,
in
no
California.
It's up in Folsom, right?
Yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, I know.
Way
I
up
did
there.
too. In fact, I got out of state with the same name, and
Yeah.
so I narrowed it down.
Okay.
Yes, dude. Just the Vector truck you're going through and you're replacing it because it's $1 million, but the Barco only has 3,000 hours on it, and I get the nature of the head and so forth, but $500,000 on that is pretty steep as well, and so I'm wondering about, did you explore at all just the repurposing or rehabilitation of that Barco unit?
Right, so I didn't get any formal quotes, and there's no, like, this Vector refurbishment is a factory authorized process. So Vector, they have to go through, Haker has to go through the process of becoming factory authorized for a specific refurbishment process.
Right.
Barco doesn't necessarily have any factory refurbishment.
They're their own business, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Hendrix is, yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of a piece of equipment that uses components from a lot of different manufacturers. If we were to try to refurbish this unit, it would be down for quite an extended period of time, and the cost, I think, would probably nudge what the new replacement. The replacement head alone is probably over $100,000, and it would be down for quite a amount of time that would put what we feel the stormwater at risk, because we would only have the other unit available to address any concerns or events that may come up. So we just didn't feel that was as practical as the formal program that's offered by the Vector and Haker company.
I guess for the next one, in another 11 years, I guess this is 11 years, that I would suggest you look at that. They can there's some aftermarket opportunities for them on that. They can, and you just take the head off and put a brand new head on, and it seems like you're done in there. So I would suggest, put it in the notes for next time, is to really take a hard look at what it would take to just refurbish those parts that are the most intensively used.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make an attempt at that for the next round.
Yeah, I just thought that the 90,000 they were going to give, give in return was kind of low for us. So, yeah. In any case, that's just my comments on it.
Thank you.
Fair enough. We have a motion to approve item.
John, I'm sorry, I have a question. So I'm just curious about why you think there is not, and I can't open my bid summary here, but why there isn't any more local participation in these bid submittals?
So encouragingly, there was local companies that did bid on these vehicles. They just came in a little bit on the high side. I believe Jessup participated. And then the dealership down in El Centro, I can't think of the name of the company right off the top.
Imperial Valley Auto.
Imperial Valley, right. So they also bid. So they're looking more. In the previous years, we haven't even gotten any bid participation.
Well, that, and I had misremembered, but that the market is a little soft, I believe, on these type of vehicles. So on the trucks, and that's probably reflected in the.
Yeah, but they did bid. They were just a nudge high on the overall cost.
Okay, thanks.
So they outfit these things up in Folsom or wherever they are, and then just haul them down here.
So the dealership will procure the chassis and then send them to the upfitter to remove the standard pickup bed, install the utility bed. There's 3 of them that will have lift gates, and then there's 2 that are flatbeds with fuel systems for the stormwater group. And they'll output those, and then we'll take delivery of them when they're all upfitted with all the lights and
We
antennas.
take delivery of them here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Have we used this group before?
We have not.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed by vote.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart.
Communication log, it was posted. I believe there's one on there which was complimentary. Am I remembering that right? And then we do have a financial presentation. Hi, Carrie.
Carl, good morning.
This is the Chandler Investment Performance Report for the quarter ended June 30th. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, board members. Elaine Sampson is online via Zoom with Chandler Asset Management, and she will be providing the bulk of the presentation. We'll do a brief economic overview and then a review of the portfolio, which is in full compliance with our policy. We're happy to go slow down if you need us to, but we're intended to be brief. We did provide this presentation to our finance committee, which include President Powell and board member Aguilar, on July 28th so just recently. Elaine, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Perfect.
Good morning.
Morning.
And thank you, Carla. So thank you. I'll go ahead and get started here on slide number 3, and I'll refer to the slide at the bottom so that we can move forward. Really briefly, to Carla's point, we have reviewed this information, and the economic data is starting to suggest a little bit slower growth as well as weaker unemployment. This is a little bit of a change than what we talked about at the Finance Committee meeting, because there was an update to information that was released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but nonetheless, the Federal Reserve has talked about leaning towards cuts absent some of the uncertainty around tariffs. So just want to briefly state where we are with tariffs. We are presently in the negotiating stage. The individual country tariffs did go into effect on August 7th for those goods not already on the water. As is said in this space, the negotiating continues. We continue to negotiate with the courts for what is and is not legal. There was a hearing at the appeals court on July 31st, and we're waiting to hear back on that. And then the big one that we're all focused on is China. If you remember earlier this year, there were tariffs that ranged all the way up to 145%. Those were postponed yesterday, yet again, this time to November. So this is some of the uncertainty that I am referencing with regards to the tariff uncertainty. So if we move forward to slide 4, labor market statistics do remain a little bit tricky as we're seeing some declining net migration, expected to have some impact on the U.S. labor supply, keeping it a bit more constrained. But what we have seen through the revisions that I mentioned a moment ago is the U.S. is continuing to add jobs, though on a much slower trajectory. For July, total non-farm payroll unemployment changed very little, only increasing by 73,000 jobs, and has changed very little since April. The unemployment rate increased just a tick to 4.2%, whereas here in California, our unemployment rate remains at the highest level in the nation at 5.3%. Riverside County as a whole, is unemployment has now declined just a bit, sitting between the state and national at 4.9%. If we move forward 2 slides, an update to what's on the page, updated this morning, headline CPI released this morning at a stagnant rate of 2.7%. One of the things that we feel is most important with regards to this update is that the inflation has increased mainly due to shelter costs, but we did see some offset from declining energy costs. Core CPI, which excludes that energy and food prices, which is a little bit more volatile, we did see that tick up a tad to 3.1%. I will note that the inflation impacts were expected to be seen here mid-year, 3 months after the initial tariff started to be implemented, so this higher price level was anticipated. The question now for the Fed will be, is this a one-time shock that we're seeing over the summer or a long series of sustained increases? One reason why we may consider this being a little bit of a worry is that core services did increase just a bit, causing some concern for underlying increases in the inflation rate. If we move forward to consumer, I've talked with the Finance Committee about the consumers pulling forward quite a bit of their spending into the first quarter, which caused the second quarter to be a bit weaker. There's been talk about the consumers continuing to surprise to the upside this summer, but there's a bit of a mixed dynamic going on. Those who have higher wealth and higher income did reemerge with some of their spending, and they make up the bulk of what you see on that retail sales numbers in terms of dollar signs. On the right-hand side with consumer confidence, if you think about the U.S. as individuals, our consumer confidence and sentiment has come down a bit as people, again, are pessimistic about future impacts on pricing. We jump forward several slides to number 11 that's labeled gross domestic product. I'll note here that in the first quarter of 2025, we did see the first negative quarter at 0.5%, and this was due to that pull forward of purchases ahead of tariffs. So you can see that number came in at negative 4.6%. But there was also a bit of a pullback in personal consumption expenditures as well. Second quarter, which is not listed here, we also saw a reversal back to a positive, meaning that the first half of the year ended up being at about 1.5% GDP growth. The overall expectation is for GDP growth to be about 1.5–2%, so slower than what we saw last year. If we move forward a couple more slides to the bond yield slides, following the whipsaw effects that we saw from tariff announcements in Q1, there was also impacts from the Big Beautiful Bill. That was the big news story to watch during the bond markets of the second quarter of the calendar year. That drove a bifurcation of yields that you see on the left-hand side. What we see is that the 2 and 5 year points on the curve did decline in anticipation of Fed funds rates being cut. However, with the increasing expectations of added deficit and consequently added debt, we did see the 10-year start to move upwards. That's the green line. So what this means for your portfolio, if we move forward a couple of slides to 15, we continue to be focused on the preservation of safety and liquidity, and while continuing to earn a rate commensurate with your 1 to 3 year benchmark. The portfolio also has an option to purchase securities with maturities up to 10 years to opportunistically lock in rates. And I will note that this report also includes funds managed by district staff. So as Carla stated on slides 16 through 18, the portfolio is compliant with not only state code, but also your most recent investment policy. The next slide, 19, portfolio characteristics. We continue to maintain a duration that is slightly above the benchmark. You can see that on the second line at 1.86 compared to 1.77 of the benchmark. And again, we're doing this to be ahead of that lower rate of decline in rates. We've been doing this for quite a few months now. And your portfolio did benefit from what was the post-Liberation Day. That was the name of the first tariff announcement. Widening that took place. We were able to add additional asset-backed securities as well as high-quality corporate bonds at very attractive levels when new issuance resumed in April, May, and June. If you want to see additional information, that's later in the packet around slide 48. This all served to increase your purchase yield to 4.33% from 4.2% last quarter. And this was in an environment where market yields were declining. So this is one of the ways that we demonstrate continuing to add value to the portfolio. Your total average quality is in line with the U.S. government at AA+, which was downgraded by Moody's here in this past quarter, meaning all the credit rating agencies are now at this AA+ level. And that market value increased by about $7 million on the quarter from your increasing income on the quarter, which was about $5.5 million, along with the decline in market yields, which has that inverse relationship between yields and values. For the fiscal year, I'll note that the income earned from this portfolio was about $20 million for fiscal year 2025. If I move forward to the next slide on sector distribution in terms of asset mix, we also saw some value from Freddie K's. What those are the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation. They issue securities that are backed by multifamily housing, and they are listed as agency CMBS on this slide. And so you can see that we increased the allocation to 10%. We were able to pick up additional 30 to 36 basis points compared to U.S. Treasury yields. And again, a basis point is 0.1%. Is 1 basis point. So another point of good value in your portfolio. Next, I will point us to the duration allocation on page 21. We've been laddering the U.S. Treasuries out beyond the 5 years for some of your core funds. And this, as I mentioned earlier, really benefits the portfolio's purchase yield, locking in over 7 years for about 2% of the portfolio. We move to the next slide for duration distribution. Compared to the benchmark, what you see is that the portfolio has ample natural liquidity, even though we have this 2% that's a little further out. This provides us the opportunity to reinvest at market yields and have opportunity to support some optionality if the district needs any cash flows during that time. So we're really seeking to use all the tools available for investing these operating funds. On slides 23 and 24, we don't have any immediate concerns about any of the names in the portfolio. We continue to watch headlines around what's happening with these specific companies, as well as what's happening with federal agencies. There's always news about what's happening in potential privatization, for example, of federal agencies, but there has not been any action taken to this time. In terms of quality distribution on slide 25, the one major change aligns to what I just noted with regards to Moody's downgrading the U.S. government to AA+. So that is the big major shift that you see on the page. The next slide is investment performance, and this is a total return slide. Total return meaning your interest income, your realized and your unrealized gains and losses in the portfolio. And this really gives you an overall picture of, had the district needed to realize and sell all of your portfolio, how would you have performed as of June 30th, 2025? And what I would state here is that it would be really positive. Looking at the total fiscal year for that 12 months, you can see the performance of 5.96% versus 5.82% for the benchmark. And for a portfolio of $525 million, that 14 basis points of excess performance translates to nearly $3.25 million extra dollars to the district. And since inception, you can see that that excess performance is even higher at 30 basis points. And again, we're doing this with a portfolio that you can really feel comfortable that you can sleep at night. The following slides, on slides 27 to 28, these are internally managed funds by the district, and it has funding in CAMP as well as in LAIF. And these help support some large cash disbursements that the district is anticipating. And I would note that the district does continue to earn a market return on these liquidity portfolios. The subsequent slide, 29 and 30, show the stormwater, the WIFIA stormwater reserve, and this is completely managed within CAMP. And then overall, altogether on slide 32, you can see the district's portfolio. The accounts amount to about $719 million across all of the portfolios that are managed by both Chandler and internally managed by district staff. The balance of the slides in this packet are the holdings as well as the transactions, and I'll stop there for questions.
Thank you. That was an excellent presentation and very up to date. I mean, as of a couple hours ago, it seems like. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Anything, any comments or questions? Yeah, thank you. Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else, Carla?
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
On to board general comments, Director Nelson.
No comments today. Thanks.
No comments.
None.
This has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but somebody, you know, you always say, who would you like to meet in your life? And there's probably a short list of people, but I got to meet somebody that I'd wanted to meet for a very long time, who you might be surprised who that is. But a friend of mine is very close with the 91-year-old Willie Brown. Yeah, and this guy, I mean, he was such a huge part of California, and I got to meet him and talk to him, and by the way, still going strong at 91.
Wow.
You wouldn't know he was anywhere near that age, but that was pretty fun. Yeah, wasn't that? I know. I don't know who else is on the list. There's a few other people, but he was there. He was on my list.
So you'd be surprised that you brought it up. I mean, I had the opportunity to meet Cesar Chavez, and as a farmer, there might be some surprise at that, but it was a great conversation, and it's great to meet people that have done impacted in various ways across the state and the country. So
Yeah, absolutely.
He may say that about you one day.
yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Thanks for that, Anthony.
I think they will.
I'm gonna say I met Peter Nelson.
That's right. True.
Yeah, you might be surprised. I actually liked him.
True.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's it for me. Yeah, and then on to, are there any board requests for future agenda items? Hearing none. Board meeting reports, July 25th, the California 440 meeting. Director Nelson.
Oh, that was held in San Diego, and John was there.
No, this was the prior. Yeah,
this was the prior?
recent one.
Oh,
Yeah.
July 25th.
I mean, we could report on the 25th and the 4th.
Yeah, sure.
And the 30th.
Yeah, both of those meetings.
No, not the 30th.
Okay, the 25th and the 4th, right?
Yeah.
I can combine those together.
Yeah.
Those were the first one was held here in Coachella. The second one was in San Diego. Jim was there. Robert made the first one, not the second. Steve Abbott was at both, and John and I were both there, trying to come up with contributions back to the system through the 2026 renegotiations of 1.5 million acre feet for the lower basin, including Mexico, and California's share would be 440,000 acre feet of that. And so we're discussing with the other agencies in California how to best divide that, and those are ongoing.
So that one on the 25th, was that?
That was the one that was here.
There was one here, but it wasn't on the 25th.
There was a 10th. The one here was the 10th,
On the 10th.
I think.
Because I was at the one here, but I wasn't. It was on the 4th, August. Well, that was
in
the
San
one.
Diego. And I think July 10th was the one here.
Gosh. July 10th.
That's what I had on my.
Oh, I was looking at that.
Oh, that's right. I was at the July 10th one, which I already reported on. So just to be
Yeah.
clear, I was not at the July 25th.
July 25th was a California Farm Water Coalition board for me. So I don't
Something's
know.
wrong. Something's wrong with
Yeah,
this.
something's
I
wrong.
don't think there was a 440 on the
No.
25th.
Yeah.
No.
I was thinking that was the one on the 10th.
But the one on on August 4th was in San Diego, and we were both there.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's the first time I've ever been to that. Their headquarters. Okay.
Yeah.
So then we had July 28th, the Board Public Finance Committee meeting, Directors Powell and Aguilar. We covered a couple different things, including the presentation we just saw.
We did, John. We also had a discussion on from Carla about some expanded responsibilities, perhaps by the board and the finance committee, in future audit actions. And so that was a pretty interesting discussion that we had. And then, of course, the Chandler report that we had, good news there that we're beating our benchmarks. And then we discussed the financing options for the Chromium requirements for us to meet, which is estimated now at $350 million, which is scary a little bit. But we discussed various financing options, and that'll come back to the board, I think, in a full report.
Thank you. And then July 28th, Cal State San Bernardino expansion meeting, Director Aguilar.
Yeah, I had been contacted, I think, as others perhaps had, regarding some perceived problems with the expansion of the student union on the campus. So Carrie helped us walk through the issues that appeared to be all resolved there. So things are moving forward. So that was good to hear. And then on the 30th, just moving forward, I did request a discussion with Jim regarding a deeper dive into the 440 discussions, and that was very helpful.
Good, thank you. Next is Director Nelson on the 30th, the USBR AOP.
Yeah, on the 30th, that's the USBR Bureau of Reclamation holds 3 annual operating plan meetings, and they go over with everyone across the basin what what will be coming out in August for the operating plan for the following year. So it's a pretty interesting process. It's good to hear other states and other agencies' input on the actual verbiage of what the plan will be. What I found interesting is the water supply update that USBR gives in the beginning of the meeting, in that this year there's only a 52% runoff of the Colorado River. So it's very low this year. So going back after we had the 2023 record year, 24 average, and 90%, this year is 50%. So we're headed down on supply. So that's not a good thing heading into the 2026 negotiations. So I thought that was the most interesting thing. The 2026 operating year will be, it looks like, forecasted into the the tier 1 shortage that we're in currently should have no effect on us in 2026. But looking forward, it's not quite as rosy. So.
Unless we have a big year.
Unless we have a big year, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's frightening. For sure. And
Yep.
everyone knows it. Are there any other meetings that we need to report on today?
And just so I can make a clarification, we're gonna change the 7/25 date for the California 440 meeting to July 10th. That is what I showed.
But I think Director Nelson reported, did you report on the Farm Water Coalition?
That's
Yeah.
a different one. We'll add the for that particular date for
Yeah,
you
that'd be
on the
good.
25th.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was, we're, the Farm Water Coalition, I attended on that date, on the 25th. Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar. Wait.
Yes?
Yeah. No, that was on a Monday. I'll sort it out with you, Sylvia.
One other thing, I did have a Desert Valleys Builders Association board meeting yesterday that I attended by Zoom, and definitely concerns there by the folks in the East Valley about getting power to projects. It's really a big deal. Big deal. Anyways, we had our regular, I think we meet every other month now. Is there a motion to approve per diem for those meetings reported on?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passed 5-0. General Manager,
I have nothing this morning, sir. Thank you.
Council,
And I will pass as well, Mr. President.
any departments? There's your chance.
Did you have
I
a?
too, sorry, I was trying to, I'm still on the vote thing there. Yes, I just wanted to introduce our new executive assistant for administration. She didn't know I was going to do it, but Nicolette Marcus, actually by Nikki. So she just started with us last week on Monday. So we're excited to have our permanent executive assistant starting.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Nicolette Martin. Where are
Marquez.
you from? Marquez. Where are you from?
You can
wanna
come on
come
up,
up? You
Nicole.
can talk
Come
to
on
us.
up to
Come on up.
the podium. Yeah.
We might
Introduce
see
yourself
you
officially.
again after today, so
Yeah.
you never know.
Sorry. Thank you, Yolanda. Good morning. Nice to meet you all. I'm from the Bay Area. I just moved here 2 years ago. So happy to be in this valley. I'm from originally the San Fernando Valley. And in the Bay Area, I was previously at the County of San Mateo for their Center on Homelessness.
Oh,
So I'm really happy to be here helping Jim and Robert.
okay, great.
So
Nice to
here.
meet you.
Nice.
Have you here.
Thank you.
What's your favorite color?
Oh, boy.
Purple, Jim.
You can't ask that? I don't know. I think you can ask that.
She's already hired.
They're already hired, yeah. All right. So at this time, the board will recess into closed session to consider that one item on the agenda. Following that, we will reconvene to report out. I'll reconvene the regular or the open session, and with no reportable action from the closed section and no further business, we are adjourned.